Good evening and welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking the time out of your 4th of July week to join us for this public hearing tonight. This is a public hearing for the Walled Lake Branch Daylight Project, Northville, Wayne County. My name is Ryan Blazik. I'm with EGLE's Environmental Support Division. I'm just going to be moderating tonight's public hearing. I'm kind of going to be your guide all the way tonight. And the first thing we're going to do is kind of just go through an agenda. This is what our night's going to look like. We're first going to go through an introduction and then an informational session where the applicant's going to have an opportunity to present information on the proposed project. And we'll follow that up with a short question and answer sessions. You will have an opportunity to ask some questions related to it. Then we're going to go through other ways to submit an official comment. And then we're going to go through the official hearing portion where everyone will have an opportunity to make a comment for the record on this application. So there's basically going to be two parts. First, the informational session where you can ask questions, and then the hearing part where you'll be able to make a statement and we won't be responding to statements or questions. And then, of course, we're going to cover who to contact in case you have some follow-up questions tonight. All right, in case you haven't joined us for a public hearing before, all lines are going to be muted during tonight's hearing. Unless you have a question during the question and answer period or to make your statement, we'll explain how we're going to do that later. We will be able to unmute you and you will be able to make your statement, but we'll go over that later. But you can submit questions at any time using the Q&A box in your Zoom toolbar. We'll be answering those questions after the presentation tonight, but before the hearing portion. And then just so you're aware, we are recording this hearing, which will be on our YouTube channel in a couple of days. And you can watch it again at that time or forward it on. All right, at this point, I'd like our other EGLE staff on the line to turn their cameras on and introduce themselves. So welcome.
Thanks, Ryan. My name is Andy Hartz. I'm the Warren District Office District Supervisor. I oversee the water resource unit that oversees construction activities in Michigan's lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, and wetlands in southern Michigan, southeast Michigan specifically. Jeremy?
Hi, my name is Jeremy Richardson. I'm the district representative for Water Resource Division in the Warren District Office. I cover most of Wayne County, including Northville. And we're here tonight because Omar Eid with Hunter Pasture Northville LLC has proposed to restore daylight a reach of the Walled Lake branch of the Rouge River and construct a new public park in the city of Northville.
All right, thank you, Jeremy and Andy. And also, just so you're aware, there's the floodplain engineer, Pat Dirac, is not on the line with us tonight. All right, so we went through kind of the EGLE staff. At this point, we're going to begin the informational session, and we're going to invite Seth Herkowitz and Matt Stone to unmute themselves. We will unmute you. And let's see here. Seth, it looks like you are unmuted. Are you there?
I'm here, Ryan. Seth Herkowitz, partner, chief operating officer, Hunter Pasture.
All right. Do you have Matt there with you?
He should be on the line.
All right. If you're logged on as someone else, Matt, just raise your hand and we'll unmute you because I'm not seeing you.
Yeah, hey, Ryan, this is Andy. I'm told Matt is on somehow, some way. He's here.
Okay. Looks like Omar has this. Okay. All right. You're unmuted, Omar.
This is Matt. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Got you both unmuted then. All right. Perfect. So I've got your slides here. So if you just want to let me know when to change slides, you can begin your presentation and start to go through them. Please limit the
cameras on.
No, we're not going to be sharing cameras tonight.
Okay.
Just the EGLE staff will have their cameras on. But it'd be great if you keep it to around 10-15 minutes so we have some time for Q&A. And you can begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Matt,
All right, oh, go ahead. I'll just be changing slides for you.
Yeah, Matt should be on the call presenting.
Yes, yep.
Oh,
Seth, I'm here.
okay.
Okay, well, thank you for this opportunity to talk about the Downs project, and particularly the permit application that is the pending with EGLE, relative to two primary statutes that we've applied for permits under, Part 31, Water Resources, which is the floodplain considerations on the property, as well as Part 301, Inland Lakes and Streams. And that, of course, relates directly to the stream channel. We go to the next slide. What we're going to talk about here briefly, first off, Seth is going to talk a little bit about the project purpose and kind of the why behind this particular application. And then I'm going to go through the parts of the project related to the permit application itself and talk about some of the detail behind that. So with that, I think we'll go to the next slide, and I'm going to turn it over to Seth to talk about the project purpose and a little bit more about it in general.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone that's joining the call. Again, my name is Seth Herkowitz. I'm a partner and chief operating officer at Hunter Pasture, and I've been fortunate to lead the Northville Downs redevelopment efforts. For those of you that are unaware, the Downs redevelopment is a $350 million mixed-use project. It's going to bring critical benefits to Northville, the region, and the state of Michigan. The Downs is going to result in significant infrastructure and land contributions to Northville in the form of road improvements, vital pedestrian crossings, needed water and sewer upgrades, and historic preservation. We're here tonight to discuss one of the most important public benefits, that being daylighting of approximately 1,100 lineal feet of the Rouge River, which has been buried in a culvert below the site for many, many decades, and the subsequent creation of the future 10.44 acre river park. What you see on the screen, you can see the aerial image on the left side, which shows the condition prior to recent demolition activities of the future river park, and that buried river channel is noted by the orange outlines. And then in contrast, you can also see the image on the right side of the screen, which is an aerial rendering illustrating the future river park upon completion. So aside from the recreational park space that'll be created, the river project's going to result in plant and habitat restoration and benefit the overall health of the Rouge River. When we often talk about the river park, we always highlight that this section of the river is commonly referred to as the missing link, and allow for the City of Northville's plans for an interconnected river walk, which will extend from Ford Field to the north to the Hines Park Trail system to the south. And then upon completion, we'll be dedicating that river park to the city, allowing it to become a landmark public asset for the city and the region for future generations to enjoy. Next slide, please. As many on this call are aware and have participated, the Downs has gone through a very rigorous public engagement process with over 50 public meetings and hundreds of hours of review by the local citizenry, the Planning Commission, the City Council, the DDA, the Brownfield Authority, and other oversight boards. Early in our public engagement, it was very clear the importance of integrated green space, and as a result, 1/3 or approximately 15 acres of our overall site plan has been dedicated to open space, including 3 of the most significant public assets of the development: the river park that's outlined on the screen in orange, the 1.25 acre Central Park along Katy Street, as well as third, the gateway into Northville, which is located at Center and 7 Mile. Again, our commitment to open space and the efforts specifically related to the river park are going to allow us to first transform a blighted piece of land, provide passive and naturalized park space for recreation, create an interconnected pedestrian and bicycle network, capture the floodplain within the banks of the future river, and create an integrated stormwater management system. So with that introduction and context, I'll turn the presentation back to Matt for a technical review of our daylighted river design. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. If we could go to the next slide. So this part of the presentation is going to be based on the drawings that are included in the EGLE application, with some highlights and annotations provided here to draw attention to the parts of the project that are being discussed along the way here. For a note of orientation, the application drawings, north is to the left, east is to the top, south is to the right, and of course west would be towards the bottom. So Beale Street, for general context, Beale Street is going to be to the left of the image, river to the top, Johnson Drain and 7 Mile Road to the right. The existing stream flows onto the property from offsite to the north, underneath a bridge at Beale Street. And then the enclosure itself is butted right up against that Beale Street bridge, and it's outlined there in orange. It takes a few jogs along the way as it traverses the site from north to south. The culvert, the existing culvert itself varies in width and height, but is between 22 and 29 feet wide and 7 to 8 feet tall. At the southern property boundary, the stream then flows out of the box culvert, and there is an approximately 30-foot segment of open channel that is off-site. And then there is, after that 30-foot segment, the confluence with Johnson Drain, and then the combined flow of Walled Lake Branch and Johnson Drain combined to become the middle branch of the Rouge River and flow underneath a bridge under 7 Mile Road and to the south. Next slide. When we layer on then the existing regulated 100-year floodplain, we find that most of the flow within, even at flood condition, is contained within the existing enclosure, although there is some overland flow at the modeled 100-year event that is shifted a bit to the west in some portions of the site. Go to the next slide. So the project proposes to establish a new river channel, highlighted there in blue, that is offset to the east of the existing enclosure between the box culvert and River Street. And upon completion, the water within the enclosure would be diverted into the new river channel. The location and alignment of that new river channel was selected first as needing to connect the locations where the stream enters and leaves the site. Those were fixed points in the site planning considerations. And then ultimately as part of the overall site master plan approvals process with the city that Seth described. And with the final proposed alignment developed as part of our detailed design process with following our natural stream channel design process and in consideration also for how the new stream would fit within the proposed river park. Key alternatives considered were how the new river would work with the activities proposed outside of the regulated features, and also how to sequence new channel construction while maintaining flow in the enclosure until such time that the new channel is ready to receive that flow. The proposed channel would be a repeating series of riffles, which are shallower depth areas marked by gravel and cobble as a stream bed material, and pools, which would be deeper water depth areas. And it's proposed to follow the general pattern and character of a high quality reference reach, which was identified as a branch or a reach of the Upper Rouge River with a similar context and watershed size. Next slide. In addition to the new channel, there are some other aspects of the application that would be within the new channel itself. The first, as highlighted in the application, is the placement of cobble to establish those riffles that I mentioned previously in the 10 locations highlighted on the slide there. And we've also included a representative picture of a riffle of a similar size stream there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen as a visual example. Next slide. Additionally, there are proposed to be six cross vein weirs in the locations identified on the slide there. Next slide. The application also proposes rock for boulder clusters in two locations, shown there as the number 1 and number 2, with a representative photo of a boulder cluster there as well. Next slide. There would also be a total of 855 linear feet of tow wood proposed in the application in the locations highlighted on the drawing there. And the intent of tow wood, which is fundamentally a large woody material that's embedded in the bank, is to increase stability of the outer banks of the curves of the stream. Next slide. The application also proposes 2 clear span pedestrian bridges to connect the non-motorized path and trail network of River Park across the new stream channel. And those are proposed in the 2 locations identified and highlighted there. Next slide. As an ancillary activity, there are 3 utility line activities proposed in the application. The first, they're identified as number 1, is associated with Beale Street, and that is the removal of an existing sanitary main that is within the bridge structure of Beale Street. And this is proposed to remove or to improve the hydraulics of the river through the existing Beale Street Bridge. The bridge itself is to remain, so just the removal of that sanitary main. And the replacement for that identified in location 2 is the construction of a new sanitary main that would cross underneath the new river channel. The third utility proposed in the application is the discharge of stormwater from a proposed detention basin into the new stream channel, and that's shown in location 3. Next slide. Moving from our Part 301, or our inland lakes and streams activities, to our Part 31 water resources floodplain activities, the permit application proposes cut and fill in the existing regulated floodplain, and that is to accommodate the construction of the stream, river park, and the detention basin as referenced. Next slide. Commensurate with the construction of the new stream channel, the application proposes to establish a new regulated 100-year floodplain as identified in the areas in blue there. And those are the limits and extent of that proposed floodplain are based on the hydraulic modeling of the new stream channel. And that floodplain would be entirely within the limits of the Downs project. Next slide. Upon completion of earthwork, the application also proposes a tree and shrub planting plan, as well as an herbaceous vegetation seeding plan as a means to restore the construction site, and also to establish a plant community that would be based on plants indigenous to riparian and floodplain forests of southeastern Michigan. And next slide. And finally, the application plans include several representative cross sections, which depict the elevation relationships of the proposed riparian corridor, starting from a low flow or base flow channel to a bank full, or approximately a 1.5-year probability flow condition, through successively larger and less frequent flow events up to, as depicted there, the hydraulic model results of the 100-year flood elevation. These cross sections were refined and developed during the city review approval process to establish the necessary stream flow conveyance capacity as we worked through detailed design, while also providing opportunities to incorporate park user opportunities such as paths and vantage points into those areas of the river corridor that are outside of the primary channel and are in those zones that are going to be flooded infrequently, so as to increase the opportunities for people to move through this new space and engage in the river. And that is my last slide.
All right, thank you very much for providing that information, Matt and Seth. We're going to move right into the question and answer session tonight. So if you have a question on the project or application or EGLE process related to this is your opportunity. You can ask a question by submitting your question in the Q&A box in your Zoom toolbar that you'll see at the bottom of your screen. Or if you'd like to ask your question verbally, you can click the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen, which looks like a raised hand. If there's anybody calling in by phone, you can raise your hand in Zoom by selecting #2 on your receiver. That'll raise your hand, and then we'll call on you using the last 4 digits of your phone number and unmute you, and you'll be able to unmute yourself. So we're going to go ahead and see if there's any questions. So this would be the time. Let's see here. Don't think we have any at the moment. We'll give it a couple minutes in case somebody does have questions. If we don't have any questions for tonight, what we'll do is move on to the next step in tonight's hearing, which will be to go through the other ways to make a comment in case somebody doesn't want to make a statement tonight. And then we're going to go through that hearing part where you'll have an opportunity to make a statement. So this is right now your opportunity to ask questions, and it looks like we do have a raised hand. All right, so the raised hand, Nancy Darga. So Nancy, you are unmuted on our end. You can unmute yourself, and then you can ask your question. And you should be able to unmute just using the microphone icon. Are you there, Nancy?
Yes, thank you very much. My first question is regarding how are we maintaining the flow during the excavation of this 9,740 cubic yards?
All right.
Part of the construction sequence is that they're actually leaving the enclosure in place while constructing the new channel. And then they'll have the channel basically stabilized, graded, stabilized before they put in the last 2 tie-in points up and downstream to introduce flow to the new channel.
I got that. Am I allowed to ask more than one question?
Yeah, I don't have any others on here right now, so yeah, feel free
Okay.
to ask.
I got different answers previously from some of the project engineers, but once excavation starts to daylight the river, how long does that have to sit and stabilize before we start putting plant material on it?
I mean, we don't have a certain requirement for that to occur. I would imagine, Matt, is there a schedule for that, for the establishment, the temporary measures?
Yeah, there are temporary measures included in the application drawings for stability considerations.
And thank you both. Any other questions, Nancy?
The only thing, obviously we're trying to, the River Restoration Task Force wants to create a environmentally sound park, but also a beautiful park. And I'm just wondering, is there a way to add some natural boulders into the design where the water comes through under Beale Street?
That is an item that we would consider taking into consideration as part of the hearing if you wanted to submit some follow-up comments and some suggestions for that.
It's purely cosmetic. It has nothing to do with the stability of the water flow or how this is engineered. It's just that we want a wow, the River Task Force wants a wow factor as the water comes under that bridge. So it looks natural. It just doesn't have a concrete head wall, and
Yeah,
it doesn't impact the permit. It's on my wish list, so I'm verbalizing it.
okay.
You'll also have an opportunity to make a statement during the hearing part, Nancy, and then I'm also going to go through the other ways to submit comments in case you'd like to do that.
Thank you very much. My questions are done.
All right. Yeah, thanks for those questions. All right. All right. Makes someone else like to ask a question, you can do it by typing your question in the Q&A box or raising your hand. I thought I just had a raised hand. I'm not seeing one right now, though, but you can raise your hand in Zoom at the clicking at the bottom of your screen, or if you're on the phone by selecting #2 on your phone, that will raise your hand. All right, looks like I have a raised hand. Jeff Snyder, we are going to unmute you, and then you have an opportunity to ask your question. You're unmuted on our end. You just click the microphone icon and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, I just got a couple quickies. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Well, I appreciate your presentation, Matt and Seth. Just a couple quick questions. HP, you guys are actually, I guess, are you the contractor on the installation of this, if it's permitted, or is it the city? And I thought the city already owned that parcel. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, I can clarify that. Yet Hunter Pasture is the contractor. The land is owned by the Wayne County Land Bank.
Okay, so the city does not actually, the city doesn't.
The city will own the property upon completion of all of the required activities and build out of the park space.
Okay, I was at a DDA meeting the other day, and George mentioned that the city owns the park space because that was what was required to get the TIFs and brownfield development funding also, but that's not the case.
Jeff, could you repeat part of that? It cut out when you were speaking. I didn't.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. At the DDA meeting last week, George Lahanis mentioned that or stated that the park was actually owned by the city now and is actually within the confines of the DDA, and that was necessary in order to for the TIF money and the brownfield.
Yeah, that's so the DDA boundary was expanded to include this parcel last year. So that is factually correct. And that allows TIF money to be recaptured as part of the brownfield plan.
Okay, so it's not technically it's not owned by the city, but it's in the DDA?
Correct, and the property is conveyed to the Wayne County, has been conveyed to the Wayne County Land Bank, and upon completion will be conveyed and dedicated to the City of Northville.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for clearing that up. There's one more question. Maybe this is for Matt. There's the detention infrastructure, and then there's the park area. And I notice you have them combined. Is there a reason that everywhere else I'm seeing the two separated? That the detention pond is not actually part of the park area?
The detention basin and its outfall are part of this, are included in this permit application. So they've been combined for this purpose.
I got you. All right, that's it. It clarified my questions. If I have any more, I'll certainly submit them. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your questions, Joe. All right, would anybody else like to ask a question before we go on to the next part of tonight's hearing? And I should mention, I'm going to go through the other ways to submit a comment. And then we're going to go start the hearing process where everybody have an opportunity to make a statement on this project and application. And then if you have a question that pops up, I'll be providing Jeremy's contact information at the end. So you'll be able to contact Jeremy and have his information, but this will be the only opportunity to ask a question. And I'm not seeing any other questions. Again, Q&A box or raising your hand at the bottom of your screen if you're on your computer, or selecting #2 on the phone. All right, I'm still not seeing any other questions. All right, thank you, Matt and Seth, for the presentation and being here for the Q&A. Everyone who asked those questions, yeah, thanks for asking questions tonight. I think we're at the time in the evening where we want to move on anyway, so we're doing well in that respect. All right. So there's other ways to submit a comment. You can do that a couple of different ways in case you didn't want to make a statement tonight. You can do that through EGLE's My Enviro portal under submission HPX 9G8W DYKE2, and we're going to be putting that link in the chat so that you'll be able to access it from the chat, or you can do it by mail to EGLE at the district office at Donald Court. That's at 27700 Donald Court in Warren, Michigan 48092. And the comment period will be open for 10 days, which will be July 12th. You also have that amount of time to make a comment. All right, so we're going to go on to the hearing portion. So at this time, Jeremy, I'd like to invite you to read the opening statement to get things kicked off for us.
Thanks. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Jeremy Richardson. I'm the District Representative in Water Resource Division of the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy. I'll be serving as the hearing officer for this public hearing on EGLE submission number HPX 9G8W-DYKE2. To describe how this is going to work tonight, I will begin with some background information about why we're here. I'll then describe the purpose of the hearing and how your comments will be used. Following that, I will outline the procedures under which we'll take your comments and then describe what will happen after tonight's hearing. It will then be time for your comments, and we'll spend the majority of the time tonight listening to those comments. At the end of the hearing, I'll read the closing statement. By way of background information, the Water Resources Division is responsible for administering a variety of programs that help protect inland lakes and streams, wetlands, floodplains, sand dunes, and the Great Lakes. These programs regulate certain activities such as dredging or filling a lake, stream, or wetland, constructing a dam, constructing a marina, placing shore protection, or constructing docks, and building in a designated critical sand dune area, wetland, or floodplain. The law governing those responsibilities is the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, 1994, PA 451 as amended. We are here tonight because Omar Eid with Hunter Pasture Northville LLC has proposed to restore daylight of reach of the Walled Lake branch of the Rouge River and construct a new public park in the city of Northville, Wayne County. The proposed activities include removing a portion of sanitary sewer and box culvert, in-place abandonment of the existing box culvert, excavation of new open stream channel, and placement 10 riffles consisting of cobble, 6 boulder cross veins consisting boulders, 2 boulder clusters consisting of 10 cubic yards of boulders and tow wood, install 2 clear span pedestrian bridges over the new stream, and install sanitary beneath the new stream, and construct a stormwater pond with an outlet to the new stream. proposed floodplain activities include excavating material from the existing 100-year floodplain. In order for a permit to be granted, EGLE must find that the proposed activities described in the public notice meet certain criteria set by Part 301, Inland Lakes and Streams, of the NREPA as amended. In general, we must consider the effect of the proposed project on the stream. And when reviewing an application for permit under the provisions of Part 301, EGLE is charged to make the following considerations as required by Section 301.06 of Part 301. The department shall issue a permit if it finds that the structure or project will not adversely affect the public trust or riparian rights. The department shall not grant a permit if the proposed project or structure will unlawfully impair or destroy any of the waters or other natural resources of the state. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to give anyone interested in the daylighting project an opportunity to provide information that EGLE can use in making the decision whether or not to issue a permit. Please recognize that EGLE can only use the information you provide if it relates to the criteria that EGLE must use in making a decision. Some of you may simply want to express your support or opposition to the project. We'll be happy to make note of your position, but please understand that EGLE is by law not allowed to base our decision on whether or not there is widespread support or opposition to the project. In just a moment, I will outline the procedures we'll use for taking your comments. But before I do so, I need to mention that the notice of this hearing was published in the EGLE calendar since March 20th, 2024, and the Northville Record newspaper on June 13th, 2024. As we discussed at the beginning of the information session, if you have a comment to provide, raise your hand in the Zoom toolbar. To ensure that the hearing is conducted in a fair manner, we'll follow these steps. First, the applicant has already had an opportunity to describe the proposed project. We will then call on those who have indicated in their registration that they would like to speak. After that, we'll call on all those that raised their hand in their Zoom toolbar that they would like to make a comment if they haven't already been called upon. As a reminder, if you are participating in the hearing by phone, follow the directions of the moderator on how to identify that you would like to make a comment. You may also submit your comments to EGLE using the My Enviro portal, email, or US mail. When all the comments have been completed, we'll ask if anyone else would like to make a statement. When your name is called, your microphone will be unmuted. As you begin your comments, please state your name and any group or association you may represent. Each person will be given 5 minutes to make their comments. We'll indicate to you when you have a minute left. Please begin wrapping up your comments and end within the allotted time. If needed, we'll indicate when your time has ended. I ask that we all be courteous and respectful to one another tonight. Please also recognize that EGLE staff is here tonight to provide a fair opportunity for you to express your comments on the proposed project and to listen to those comments. This hearing is being recorded and your comments will be a part of the information EGLE will consider in making its decision on whether or not to issue a permit on the proposed project. The public comment period for this public hearing is open for 10 days from the date of this hearing, ending on July 12th, 2024. Additional information and comments submitted in writing during the 10 public comment period will also be considered in EGLE's decision. Following the close of the public comment period, EGLE will make a decision to either issue a permit for the project as proposed or with modifications or send a letter of denial. You may find out what the decision is by checking the EGLE My Enviro portal website and searching for the application number HPX 9G8WDYKE2. Thank you for your attention. We will begin calling the names of those who have indicated they would like to make a statement.
All right, thank you for reading that, Jeremy. Yeah, we're gonna start to take comments. A couple things to reiterate or keep in mind as we go through these. It's one comment per person. But if you're on the line and making a comment and there's somebody else there with you who would like to make a comment, let me know and we'll give them the same opportunity. Everybody will have an opportunity tonight to make a comment. And everyone has 5 minutes, and you will see a timer in the upper right-hand corner of your screen counting down from 5 minutes. So you'll be able to see how much time you have to make your comment. And then we're going to give you a 1 minute heads up with a timer. It's going to sound like this. Oops. I must not be sharing. Hold on. All right, so it doesn't look like. There we go. Did everyone hear that? That's the 1 minute bell, so you'll know you have a minute left. And then also, when you're called upon to make your comment, please identify yourself, your name, and any affiliation that you have. I have 2 people on my list who indicated they wanted to make a comment. I have Seth Herkowitz and Nancy Darga. Seth, I'm assuming that you marked that on your registration form because you are part of the presentation. If
Right.
do you have a comment? Okay, gotcha.
No.
So then we're going to start with Nancy Darga. So Nancy, we're going to unmute you and you're going to have your opportunity to make a comment tonight. And Nancy, it looks like you're unmuted on our end. And then you can unmute yourself by selecting the microphone icon. You can begin when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Ryan. The Northville River Restoration Task Force was organized in 2020 for the sole purpose of revitalizing the river and making it healthier, more natural, and to provide public access to it. We pushed very hard for the Downs project to include daylighting the river despite the price tag, despite the early on opposition. And we feel that daylighting the river is fundamentally important in terms of undoing the harm that was done to this river in the 1960s, increasing the stormwater capacity of the site, and also providing positive aquatic habitat along the daylighted stream. We are also very much concerned about the landscaping and the revegetation of the site since it was denuded and degraded through the years. And although we had many arm wrestling sessions on the sinuosity, the inclusion of ripple pools, etc., we feel that the design does meet our expectations, and we support daylighting the river. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for your comment, Nancy. All right, so we have identified 2 people who indicated during registration they wanted to make a comment. So now at this time, we've been through and they've had an opportunity. Anybody else who'd like to make a comment tonight can raise their hand in Zoom. And so you see the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen that will raise your hand. We'll call on people in the order that the hand was raised. Or if you're on the phone, you can select #2 on your receiver, and that will also raise your hand in Zoom, and we'll call on you using the last 4 digits of your phone number. And I'm not seeing any raised hands yet. We'll give you a couple minutes in case anybody else wants to make a comment by raising your hand. If we don't have folks who want to make a comment, other folks want to make a comment tonight, we're going to go through the other ways to submit a comment again in case you decide you want to do it by one of those other means. And then we're going to provide Jeremy's contact information in case you have additional questions. And then we'll wrap up the hearing after that. But I'm not seeing any other raised hands. So we're going to go ahead and close out this part of the hearing tonight before we move on. So Jeremy, do you want to read the closing statement for us tonight?
Thank you for your comments and cooperation. We appreciate your interest in the proposed project and that you took the time to be here tonight. As indicated at the beginning of the hearing, you may submit additional written comments until July 12th, 2024. Following the close of the public comment period, we will consider all comments received and make a decision on the proposed project. Just to remind those that may still want to submit a comment, comments can be submitted using the MyEnviro portal, email, or US mail. The hearing is now closed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. As Jeremy mentioned, you still have an opportunity to make comments by MyEnviro under submission HPX 9G8W DYKE2 or by mail 2770 Donald Court, Warren, Michigan. Comment period is open for 10 days, which is July 12th. And then if you have further questions, you can contact Jeremy, Jeremy Richardson at 248-763-1664 at richardsonj1@michigan.gov is the email, and that's RICHARDSONJ1@MICHIGAN.gov. And just before we close out tonight, Andy, do you have any closing comments for us?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I just want to thank everybody that took the time out today to attend the hearing. And I guess a special shout out to the task force and the Hunter Pester Homes and Seth and Matt and the team who have obviously spent a lot of time on this project. And, you know, the collaboration is that this project obviously has had before it got to us is obviously a lot. Seth touched on that. So I think this is going to be a great project. We've already received a no comment / encouragement letter from the federal government, the EPA, on this project. So obviously the devil's in the details, but it appears to me that all sides of this project are committed to making this one, you know, a very nice project. So I want to thank everybody who's come tonight, and please follow up with any of us who, with either Jeremy or I, if anybody has any further questions or comments. So thanks, Ryan, for moderating tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Andy and Jeremy, for being our panelists and for our presenters and all of you for being part of this process. Last thing I'll have is just a reminder that this hearing was recorded. It'll show up on our YouTube channel, EGLE's YouTube channel, in the next few days. So you can look out for it there in case you want to watch it or forward it on. And with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your evening and a great 4th of July. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.